As a kid, Halloween was not that fun for me. My parents were extremely paranoid that somebody would knock on the door and rob us. So instead of handing out candy like normal people, we turned off all the lights and sat in the dark until there were no more trick-or-treaters. My brother was allowed to go out trick-or-treating with his friends because, firstborn privileges, while me and my younger brother had to stay home in the dark, peeking through the windows to watch all the other costume kids get to go have fun and get candy. Doom, doom, doom. Trick or treat. Get away from the windows and be quiet so they'll go away. Doom, doom, doom. Trick or treat. Yeah, we got egged every year. The next morning, I'd come out to see all the dried eggs all over the place. I think my parents started feeling bad for me, so I got to go out with my older brother one year. My parents never bought us costumes or anything. So that year, my brother and his friends mowed lawns to have money to buy a mask, but they only had enough to buy one. When we went trick-or-treating, we'd all take turns wearing the mask at each house. I think towards the end they didn't care anymore, so they just let me wear it for the rest of the night. It took a few years for my parents to come around and start giving out candy. I usually gave out the candy at the busiest times, but when it died down, I took my brother to go out real quick to get candy for ourselves. I remember one year we got a good haul. We'd dump out bags full and then started to trade with each other. My mom loved Almond Joys and my dad loved Baby Ruths, so we'd always give them those for letting us out. Okay, what's a Halloween episode without a ghost story or two? This happened when I was about 13. The house we lived in at that time had a hallway door that my dad would lock every night. It's what separated the bedrooms from the living room and the rest of the house. Keep in mind, it was one of those latch kind of locks. In me and my younger brother's room, my bed was directly in front of the door and I could see directly down the hallway. For whatever reason, I woke up one night and I thought I had seen something move on the other side of the door. I figured it could have been our dog if she could have gotten out of her area or something. But to me it didn't really matter because I knew that my dad locked the door. But I had an uneasy feeling about it, so I kept watching it. But then, I could kind of hear the doorknob move a little, but it obviously wasn't going to open, so I wasn't too worried about it for some reason. I kept looking at the bottom of the door to see if anybody was there, but I didn't see anything. I looked over at my sleeping brother, and that's when I heard the click. I panicked and threw the blanket over my head and closed my eyes as tight as I could. I heard the creak of the door open. I was so scared, but I had to look in case I needed to yell for my parents to wake up. I peeked out and looked, and the door was wide open. I knew if there was an actual person there, the dog would have already been barking. I slowly got up and looked around the hallway, but there was nothing. Just then my grandma opened up her door and asked what I was doing. She quickly told me just to go to bed. She must have thought I went out to get a drink of water or something, so she went and closed and locked the door. She kept her door open that night just in case I was trying to sneak out or something. That freaked me out. I think there was something real weird in that house. We had an incident a couple years later. One night, my dad had woken us up in a panic. He said that there was someone in the attic, which sounded nuts. He said he had heard footsteps up there. So we stayed silent to listen, and sure enough, we'd heard something. He quickly told us to call the police, and he stood under that pull down stair thingy in case someone tried to come down. I tried to reason with him and ask how anybody would get up there, but he wasn't having it. He snapped at me to call the cops, so I did. Minutes later we saw the flashing lights and we went outside to meet the police. They looked around and then came in. We pulled down the stairs and one of them went up. He looked around and sure enough he said it was clear. Nobody was up there. We felt bad that they came out. My dad swears that he heard footsteps that night. And we had heard something too, but we ended up believing that maybe it was the wind or something else. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I was able to finish it a lot sooner than expected. If anything, I thought I would be done next week or right before Halloween. But I think for the most part, I'm pretty happy with the way this came out. Anyways, thanks again, and I hope you guys have a safe Halloween, and I'll see you later.